everyone, I'm Jason Ward, aka MakingStarWars.com, and over here on this side of me is my sketchy friend Rob.
I'm hanging out at the greatest toy store in the world, the Walmart aisle.
In 1995.
This is why kids are so into toys these days, because look at this. This is great.
I just look at it and I want to start shoplifting again.
And what's really great is right next to this are the WWF figures, and they go at least 12 inches deep.
That's me too, actually.
WWF, you old guys, WWE. Fuck off.
Yeah. So we may have a cold breeze from the north today. If he's having some modem problems, and we don't know. Yeah,
I thought Santa.
Actually, Santa. I got a message from Santa this morning, and what does he say? He says he can't. Well, I'll have to catch the replay. Santa visit at the local school coming up. Yeah, we had a Santa visit last night at our school, my kids' school, and boy, was that Santa low rent. I felt like I was cheating on you. And the funny thing is that Rob said the same thing. He's all, "Did you feel like you're cheating on?" I'm like, I did actually.
Okay. Question, right? If they reopened the San Bernardino Santa Claus shop, and you went there this Christmas with the kids,
in the San Bernardino Mountains,
would you still feel like you're cheating on Star Wars Santa? Or when you're hanging out with Star Wars Santa, would you feel like you're cheating on the San Bernardino Santa? Because you got history here, buddy. You got history with it. You didn't answer that.
You know what? Star Wars Santa's my guy. That's my guy. That's my Santa.
Well, he does come on the show. So
He does. Yeah. So he says, I hope you aren't too winded from that victory lap, Jason. Stay hydrated. And that's about my King Conan, I should say. Conan O'Brien. I keep saying Conan. King Conan is the inspiration for Book of Boba. And I saw that pretty early on when he was on that throne, And so
also Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what's in the news today? It's not the best part of the day, but it's something from Andor, which is at least a little bit different, We haven't got to really talk about Andor in a little while. And this whole month's going to be Boba, Boba-centric. So Skarsgård teases the many faces of his Andor show character. Exclusive. Stellan Skarsgård teases there's more than one side to his character in the upcoming Star Wars spin-off series Andor starring Diego Luna. Is he a double agent? Is he the Q?
Was that Urso or is that Thrawn?
Nobody knows, man. Nobody knows. All right, okay, here we go.
What do you mean nobody knows?
Nobody knows, dude. Stellan Skarsgård hints that not all is as it seems with his character in the upcoming Star Wars spin-off series Andor. Andor will be joining the ranks of The Mandalorian and this month's upcoming The Book of Boba Fett as another Disney Plus streaming series dedicated to exploring the broader Star Wars universe. And this is Screen Rant. It will follow the rebel officer Cassian Andor, Diego Luna, in the years before his appearance in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Boy, that name has not aged well and gotten any better with time.
Star Wars Story, man.
Star Wars. Horror. It's like the most serious Star Wars movie ever made, and it has the most candy ass subtitle, which in of itself was a prequel to the first Star Wars film, A New Hope. The second most candy ass title.
Theodore, a chipmunk story.
Yeah, right. it sounds like Christmas, an elf story or something. Sorry, Santa, but it does. The 12 episode.
Hold on, Nermal, a Garfield story. Just gotta do. Go ahead.
A Nermal adventure. The 12 episode debut season of Andor is set to premiere on Disney Plus between July and September of 2022. So, and I'm guessing that means it's going to start in July and end in September because it's like 12 episodes. So that's like 3 months worth of content. So, yeah.
It's going to go a while, right?
Yeah. that adds up. It's going to be an ongoing adventure. Stellan Skarsgård, which by the way is fucking awesome name, will be appearing. What's that?
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I really always thought like that. Like Bo Jackson's pretty good too. Like that's something that just rings right off the. Like I'm always those people that have really flowy names. I'm like, damn, Stellan Skarsgård. I mean,
Stellan and Bo fucking shit up.
You think like at school they beat you up for having too cool a name? Like we had to put our initials and everything. So before I was adopted, my initials were Rag, and believe me, they loved to tease me about that one. But when they were Rad, it just the jealousy. It was even worse. It was like, you're not Rad. You're not Rad. Like, all right, well, I am legally.
Look, is that a Canadian diva? What's up, dude?
Squid Jesse. Let's go. It's a little on the low side.
Yeah, I will turn him up, and then we'll see if he has to turn up. I mean, it's mostly probably on my side.
That better?
Good, Johnny. There we go.
That's I think so now you're turned all the way up. So if you're low, now it's on you. It's on you, friend.
Okay, there we go.
Whoa, gee, that's really loud.
Welcome to the Making Star Wars show, Johnny. How's it going? Pew 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 pew. Laser beams. Darth Vader quote. So that's going to be added in post.
Okay.
We'll make sure to do it. We'll do it for sure. Okay. So Stellan Skarsgård will be appearing. Blah blah blah. He's our Conan in the sci-fi hit Dune. It's on HBO. MCU stuff. Okay, here we go. How Andor visiting the Senate could strengthen the prequels. That's a related article. Don't care. Speaking with Screen Rant, Stellan Skarsgård chatted about his time on Andor. He said it was good to work with Diego Luna, who's an old friend, making this the first time the two pals have actually appeared together on screen. I'm not saying that they're not friends, but do you really think that Stellan Skarsgård and Diego Luna are just like hanging out, like going bowling and shit? Like, kind of, I don't know. Anyways, he explained that the role was fun to play because he has a lot of different faces to show.
Meanwhile, there's a TikTok video of those two DDRing, you know what I mean, in a Yokohama arcade. Yeah, right up on one another. Yeah, they're actually really good friends. Wise ass.
Oh, I stand corrected. He explained that the role was fun to play because he has a lot of different faces to show. So I wonder if that means it's really two ways to take it. Either he's a fellow spy, as in like a double agent type character, or I mean, I think or he betrays them. One of the two, I guess, right? Or maybe both. But whether this means his character is a shapeshifter, oh come on. Adept in disguise? Possibly.
Scroll confirmed Star Wars! Because no one remembers what the bounty hunter from Attack of the Clones was, but I don't think it's Skrulls. You'll see.
It's a Claudite. Come on, Screen Rant.
Oh, yeah. Claudite.
Which sounds like a word they used to say, but it's not appropriate anymore. You know, whoa, we don't use that term anymore, buddy.
Yeah, there's another phrase for that. I'm not gonna.
Or
people just trying to set me up to get canceled today, and I'm not gonna do it.
Oh, you're gonna get canceled. Don't worry, Johnny's gonna do it. That's why I brought Johnny here. I'm like, you're canceled.
Canadian cancels.
Okay, or simply Two-Faced is still entirely unknown. Read the quote below. The writing is really good. It's the same writer that did Rogue One, and also to work with Diego Luna, who's an old friend.
They don't remember his name.
So, they're all.
It's that dude who wrote the Jeremy Renner Bourne thing. Remember that one?
To be fair, I forget Tony Gilroy's name all the time. I just do. So,
him and Dan, they're brothers, right?
Like, who are you? Tony Baloney? Tony Gilroy? Tony?
I always thought it was Gilroy was here. So,
so I was excited by that, and then my character is, well, you'll see. It's fun to play because he has a lot of different faces to show. Get it, guys? Get it? No, we don't. Explain. Other Andor cast members in unconfirmed roles include Adira Arjona, Fiona Shaw, Denise Ga, Kyle Solar. However, the show will feature several returning Star Wars characters, 2 of which have already been confirmed. Forrest Whitaker will return as Saw Gerrera, who I believe has his own show coming or a show around the Partisans coming. So expect somebody to watch that and make that into their story now. The character he
The
portrayed
House Partisans,
yeah.
The Star Wars party.
A Star Wars party.
Okay.
The character he portrayed in Rogue One, Guinevere O'Reilly, or is that Genevieve O'Reilly, who will reprise her role as Rebel Alliance founding leader Mon Mothma, who was originally played in Return of the Jedi by Caroline Blackiston, and by the way, who was in the cutscenes from Revenge of the Sith, which aren't really that good, honestly. I watched them the other day, and boy, I mean, I know that George Lucas wanted to put his daughter in it, but she really kills that cutscene. Like all of a sudden, now that it's been years, I think it's okay to say she's not an actor and she knows it, but she's just like, be strong, Senator, in the middle of it, and it just like breaks it. It's bad. So far,
Knowles was like, and you cut my opening,
Yeah. George is like, hey, well, why don't you go and piss off Ben Affleck for years so people talk about that instead of the fact that my daughter can't act. So far, details of the plot and characters of Andor have been thin on the ground. Hopefully, once the Book of Boba Fett airs, the runway will be clear for promotion to begin on the future Star Wars series, which will also include spin-offs including Ahsoka Tano and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Once that's the case, maybe there will be space for the creators to start dropping hints about what fans might expect, including further details on exactly who Skarsgård will be playing.
So we can expect Kenobi, Andor, and Mando next year?
Yeah.
That's pretty good for no movie coming in 2023, right?
And we're going to have Ahsoka filming, and we're going to have Acolyte filming. So,
Jason's like, all the scoops.
Lots of stuff to talk about. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Also, do you think anyone's going to be confused with this and Andor? Do you think there's room for confusion?
Most people don't know what Andor is. Is the truth of it? Yeah.
It's like the Jyn Erso is Rey's mom confusion.
That's a visual thing and the audio thing, right? Like.
Yeah. Bill's asking, when does Kenobi come out? After Boba? Yeah, I think that is the plan. I think the plan is somewhere in those weeks before, like literally, if somebody really truly cared enough, you can go and look at what the windows are for those weeks, and they don't ever want Marvel and Star Wars overlapping. That is, it doesn't mean it won't happen, but they don't want it to. And so you can go and you can look at what the Marvel release dates are, and you can literally figure out what the windows are based off of the episode count for that stuff. So Kenobi starting in May is just a very easy reduction to make. You know what I mean? It's 6 episodes, and they have 6 weeks. And then, so between probably mid-May to mid-June, you'll probably see it showing, is my guess. And I haven't gone. Other people I think Bespin Bulletin may have broken it down on his site, but I know he broke it down for me one day. I have my own Bespin Bulletin, and he just breaks it all down for me, and he did a really good job. And I would check out his site to see if he did, because if he did, boy, it made a lot of sense. So with Bespin's here, I'm sure he'll tell us. But yeah, Johnny, are you into these live action TV shows? Is this a thing of yours?
I love Mando.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested in Andor at all. Not 0% of me wants to see Andor. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett even. Book of Boba Fett is 50-50 for me. I don't care that much about Boba Fett. I mean, it looks cool. That's it for me. I just want to see more of Luke. So if the TV shows get us to that, then I'm down with it. But
yeah, I think that's I think what you're saying is not that it's full of hyperbole or anything like that, but I think it's on the farther end of things than most fans. But I think also most agree with you. They don't know why they care. And I don't think it's a failing by Lucasfilm because I don't think it's in their design to make you care yet. They're not trying to sell you anything like on Andor yet, you know? So they don't really care. But the idea is once they start making trailers and stuff like that, that's when they hope you start to care. And I think if it's I think Diego Luna is a charismatic dude and a really good actor. So I have a feeling if the mystery of the season is good, then people will get hooked on it and people will care. But what's weird about that one is if they don't, it's 12 fucking weeks. So if it's not good, it's 12 weeks of boy, does live action Star Wars television on Disney Plus bore the shit out of my tits. That's what it ends up. That's what it ends up being. Whereas like Kenobi's like going to be in and out. It's like, here it is. It's done. Because it's, 6 episodes. It's real short.
Well, I'm going to be honest. So go ahead, Johnny.
Even if there was no action in the Kenobi series to be seen, I mean, I care about that character. So the character story can drive that series.
Yeah.
And as we know, like the setting is super important for Star Wars. So if Andor is supposed to be a character story, and I don't care about that character, and the settings aren't really something that like I haven't even been able to daydream about what he's going to be doing in that series. I really have no idea. So I don't know. I think that there's probably a lot of people, while it is a little bit hyperbolic, Jason, that is true, like a little extreme, that there's 0% of me that cares about Andor. I'm just not excited about it. I don't really care about the character. I haven't spent any time with the character other than in Rogue One, which I liked, but
yeah. No. I mean, I totally get it. Like when you watch Rogue One, you're like, that was Cassian Andor. Good night. You don't necessarily leave that movie going, need more Cassian. Where can I get more of this Cassian kid? Where's he at? It's not that kind of character. He's not he's not really very fun. It's not a fun movie. I think it's a good movie, but it's not fun. I mean, they're going to their death. They're like doing this hard thing, and so people aren't necessarily like, hey, let's go and see more of that. I'm hoping that if they're able to capture what worked about like James Bond and stuff like that, and really imbue the character with that, and then bring that to this audience, because like I like James Bond. But I actually like James Bond when it gets ridiculous. Like I like Roger Moore James Bond. People hate that. People think I'm like trolling. I'm like, I'm not. It's fun. He's fucking Grace Jones and going in fucking on moon and shit. It's fucking cool. Octopus, he's fucking awesome.
Gilroy wrote all the Bourne movies, guys.
Yeah.
And as Tim Rogers would say, the Bourne Legacy is actually a pretty good movie. It's okay. It's okay to like the Bourne Legacy.
I've never seen any of them. Because every time I hear Jason Bourne, I think he's saying Jason Ward, and I go, what? Fuck you. Like that's just my
he also wrote and directed a film called Michael Clayton. Maybe you've seen it. So, like
Michael Clayton. I think he's a neighbor of mine, maybe.
He also, his first script was though, right?
What's that?
I do, because I looked this up a while back. The Cutting Edge.
The ice skating movie?
Yeah. 1992, my friend, toe pick.
We all got to
And look, if that don't bring warmth to your heart, then I don't know what can.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm most excited about, before you get on the Bill, what I'm most excited about this series, and to an extent Kenobi, isn't the characters or the setting. It's I think we're free of the corny Filoniisms in these two projects. Like as much as I like Filoni, Mando has those corny moments, bro, that I just go, that's a Filoni corny thing, dude. Like the cartoon at the table, like, and the posturing a little too much kind of thing, and the holding on weird moments, is very Filoni, where I'm like, that's a taste I'm not that keen on. So
yeah. I mean, it's clearly the like the difference between an episode of Mando in the cantina and compare that to the tone of Rogue One, and they're not the same thing. The same universe, sure, but they're just not the same. And Book of Boba, I think, is going to kind of play somewhere in between that, but still more on the Filoni side of things, because it's going to be like fun action, kind of jazz or whatever.
Bill, Filoni's more like prequel Lucas. Careful.
Sure.
All right, he's not THX 1138 Lucas by a long shot.
Yeah, of course he did, but he doesn't have to, Bill doesn't have to say 1987 Lucas. But but I mean he's prequel Lucas's, essentially Richard Marquand for a decade before he gets to start doing his own things. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I think Richard Marquand did a good job on Return of the Jedi, considering what that movie could have been. And when you hold Return of the Jedi next to like the other films of its time, I know everybody loves Wrath of Khan, but hold it next to Wrath of Khan, hold it next to Thunderdome, hold it next to, you know what I mean? Superman 3.
Thunderdome, but Wrath of Khan is fucking don't. Come on, bro.
No, Return of the Jedi is
you're picking the wrong fight.
Wrath of Khan is the earwig, right? The earwig scene?
Yeah, the earwig scene. Yes, that's the whole movie. I think the more likely, comparison would be like a black hole or Tron. Like you compare it to like Tron, which is directed by, very art animator-esque, Disney, kind of driven by artists or behind the scenes visual effects people. Mm-hmm. And it's a movie you can't relate to. Jedi still has action and speed and heart. And that's where Marquand, could have boned it, could have got a big boner on that one. Bad boner, not a good boner, And so my own, the shame of Jedi is Kirsch turning it down. Had Lucas been like, I got away from me, I wanted more control, it'd be one thing. But when Kirsch turns it down, because I wonder if Kirsch would have been like, Leia probably should have been in the ship directing the entire battle, the up in space, Han's on the ground, you know what I mean? And they don't come back together until the very end. They're split, helping one another. That's always been my biggest complaint. I'm like, I get Admiral Akbar leading, but he's a new character. Leia should have been leading the space assault. Han should have been on the ground dealing with the shield generator. Luke's in the Death Star dealing with Vader. And I just think Kirsch would have been pushing for more of that sort of thing. But he turned it down. So Kirsch, not Kush.
I thought we talked about this maybe last show or the show before. And I was thinking about Kirshner and if he had done Return of the Jedi. I honestly think he was so tired based off of the things he said in his own attitude that had he done it, I think we would have got such a diminished Kirshner. We probably would have still barely had a better movie. You know what I mean? It would have probably been better, but barely.
Visually, it would have looked better. The lighting is, so. The funny thing about Thunderdome is they completely steal the Han Solo scene from A New Hope. Yeah, when Mel Gibson runs around and then he runs it's this straight up the Han Solo stormtrooper in the Death Star scene.
Yeah, Johnny, have you ever seen Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome?
Nope.
No. If you ever do watch it, let me know what you think. I'm curious as it has a nostalgic thing for me. It was on cable all the time when I was 5 years old, and it comes out around Return of the Jedi time, so it's one of those movies. And yeah, whenever I watch it now, whenever I see it, parts of it, I'm always wondering, would anybody like this if they weren't from 1984? You know what I mean? It's but there's I was thinking about this, there's something
great Tina Turner song though. Great Tina. The song is brilliant.
You can't.
We don't need another hero.
No, that's what Bill was saying. I was, there's that moment in Clerks when Randall says Return of the Jedi, when he actually says Return of the Jedi. And when I saw that for some reason, like when I was 13 or whatever, I was like, man, there's something about the title Return of the Jedi that makes me just go, fuck yeah. Because Return of the Jedi is such a fucking badass name. And that's the one thing that Return of the Jedi has going for it that no other Star Wars movie does. is that you're just like, fuck yeah, Return of the Jedi. It's like metal. It's like, people was like that's metal. You're just like, fuck yeah, dude. Like it just, I have that visceral reaction, or what visceral is a word, but to it whenever I hear it, I'm just like, fuck yeah, Return of the Jedi. And when I hear something like a Star Wars story now and Andor and Kenobi, I'm like, come on, man, fucking try a little bit, man. You know what I mean? Live in the shadow of Return of the Jedi and just love it. Just love it. Don't be such a little bitch about your titles.
James is going to tell Kirshner how to direct Return of the Jedi now.
Oh, is this
so James? It's so James.
Yeah.
The one time he tells us something, right? It's to bitch about Ivan Kirshner. It's great.
Kirshner said he would have had Vader take off his mask in Return of the Jedi.
Wait, James, did he tell you that? He told you?
Personally,
if it worked better, it would have worked better. I can't say, guys. I know we like this, but I'm gonna tell you. I remember looking at my uncle when it happened because I wanted to see that scene. Right, that was the one I wanted to see. And when it did, my uncle went, "Uncle Fester." you gotta go back to James. You were like 32 in 1983. You remember? Dude. I think
James sent me. Oh wait. For some reason, my emails aren't in order. All right, here we go. This is from James. This is a James announcement I have to make on the show. Usually, you guys are on when I'm at work, so I can only drop in here and there. I just got done listening to today's show, and I can tell that Rob is clearly obsessed with my McQuarrie stories. I was laughing my ass off with all his jabs. It's been like a week now since I happened to mention my encounter, but Rob can't seem to get over it. Please tell Rob the following things for me. Fact number 1. The first time I was on the show, I mentioned that I had met Ralph McQuarrie. That was his moment as a professional podcaster to follow up with any questions he may have had. Number 2, I often confused Ralph McQuarrie with Ralph Macchio. So if there seems to be some hot inconsistencies in my recollections, that's probably why. Number 3, mentioning celebrity encounters without any details in my ASMR. Number 4, Mulholland Drive is greater than Avatar. Number 5, if he asks,
what does that to do with Ralph McQuarrie?
I will gladly come on the show to spin a yarn about my.
No, don't. This is a kid's show. You can't do that, James. What?
Great show as always. You guys are the best. On a completely unrelated note, Johnny is super intense. I saw a part of Rob's podcast the other night. 100% agree with Rob. Johnny is the most aggressive Canadian I have ever met. Love you guys.
Johnny didn't write a 12-point manifesto, a declaration of principles regarding Ralph McQuarrie.
Yeah, I was thinking that for when we were all on, so I could be like, hey. But yeah, we have to have him on, and I do want to hear all of his Ralph McQuarrie stories because it is good to have those kinds of things like somewhat documented in some way. I mean, these historical figures, their passing and whatever James knows, I mean, might be the only at some point might be if it's documented somewhere, it might be the only place that's actually documented someplace. Who knows, But yeah, you know what, Dave? Fuck yes, dude. And that's probably why Return of the Jedi and Revenge of the Sith are my 2 favorite Star Wars movies. Revenge of the Sith is metal as fuck too. That is very true. And yeah, and Phantom Menace is a good name. Like
it is a good name.
I remember the first time I heard it. It was like it actually leaked onto the internet a few minutes before it was on StarWars.com. And I don't remember where I saw it, but I saw the rumor is it's going to be called the Phantom Menace. And when I heard it, I was like, oh fuck, that is so bizarre. I know it's real. You know what I mean? Like when you hear it's called the Phantom Menace, you're like, it has to be real. It's so left field. And
then he went and did Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. Attack of the Clones is badass. Attack of the Clones is fucking Attack of the Clones, metal too. I'm gonna give it the metal. Yeah, no. Attack of the Clones.
No.
Fucking cool as shit.
No, no, it is not.
Yeah,
It's better than A Shadow Falls, that's for certain. But
oh god, so many of those.
I was there. I remember
one of the other ones that went around for Revenge of the Sith that was fake was The Creeping Fear, and then it came back for like episode 7.
Yeah, the Ancient Fear.
I was like, guys, they already did this. They already tried to make this one happen.
But look, they got Rise in there. If Knowles kept pushing Rise, and then eventually it ends up in a title. So
yeah,
that one just ever since Rise, it's gonna be Rise of Jedi, Rise of the Empire, Rise of Sith. Right? It just for 20 years, and then every time Rise showed up in a title, I'm like, fucking that site, man. Like they gave us that in Superman Returns inadvertently. The legacy of that site gave us Superman Returns. The greatest take back in the history of the internet was Drew McWeeny going, I wish I never complained about the J.J. Abrams Star Wars Superman script. Having just his review for Superman Returns, I blame myself for this.
Bill says that The Creeping Fear sounds like a metal song. I believe it. I believe this, as the story goes, it turns out it was a fake rumor, but fake, and spread by a band who was trying to push their EP called The Creeping Fear.
It would be a great title for an episode of like a Jedi Academy. You know what I mean? Like if they were doing a Luke Jedi Academy series, like episode 1, The Creeping Fear or some shit. You're like, oh shit, Acolyte, The Creeping Fear or something. Like that's fine, like Attack of the Clones would be a good episode of the Clone Wars. But I remember the whole argument at the time of episode 2 from the fans was, well, it would just sound weird. It would be Star Wars, the Clone Wars. That would be weird. I'm like, no, you can't have wars twice in the title. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, and then we end up with Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Yeah, that's way better than Star Wars, the Clone Wars. Because no one calls it Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Star Wars, except Tim Rogers. Star Wars, Chapter 4, Star Wars. No, it don't call Star Wars The Empire Strikes. So they would just call it the Clone Wars. Phantom Menace, the Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith would have been a great trilogy set of names. Well, Attack of the Clones is fucking. That's a Kenner line. Kenner.
Drew McWeeny yourself, bud. Drew McWeeny yourself right now. Because I'm going to say, the prequel title, vastly superior to the sequel trilogy titles. The Force Awakens, it sounds like a fan film, and it was. It's not. I don't think it's really that good.
We don't have to lower one to raise another. We were talking about Attack of the Clones, all right? George Lucas didn't name the sequel trilogy films.
No, that's
The Last Jedi is quite good.
It's good. I like it in the fantasy sense. It's like The Last Unicorn has that kind of thing going for it, but the J.J. Abrams titled ones, not so good.
Sure, no, not so good. I don't think The Force Awakens is a great title. And I sure as shit don't think Rise of Skywalker's a good. That's probably the worst of all the titles, honestly.
Yeah. So. When it had a little bit of what does it mean to it?
Let's go back to me for a second. Here, James, I'm obsessed with Ralph McQuarrie. Like, bro, if I come on here and I go, look, I spent 12 hours with Dave Filoni once talking about stuff, but I can't say what that is. You'd be like, then why the fuck did you mention it? I continue to bring that up, every time I say I talked to someone for 12 hours at a Comic-Con, but I don't want to talk about what we talked about. Like
when I hung out with Dave Filoni one time, and all he did was talk about Avatar is so cool. This James Cameron Avatar, it's, oh my God.
I get not being able to remember the contents of every conversation. If you were like, hey, Rob, when you talk, I used to bug Rob Schrab all the time at Comic-Con in 1994, 95, right?
So did Johnny for what?
Right. Scud artist, and he had been doing the Sega Saturn game, right?
Okay.
And, I mean, if you said, what did you specifically talk about? I'd be like, well, I remember he said he was developing a movie, an animated stop-motion Scud film, and we made fun of like bad Image comics. You know, like he liked good Image comics, like the Max, you know, and then the lesser ones, you know, which I'm not gonna shit on here, but shit like that. I remember I couldn't. Fine, I get it, but he goes, I can't talk about it. Like,
I mean, I read Image's Your Mama's House issue 1 through 5, and it was pretty good.
Most underrated Image comic of the '90s. Leave it to Chance. If you've never read it, you should. But I get it. But then Rob's, we're at a Star Wars show. Obsession is why we're all fucking here. I like how James says I'm obsessed while he's got a wall full of Funko Pops and they all wearing fedoras. You know what I mean? I can confirm it's completely true.
Well, he's gonna fight. He's gonna fight you. He's gonna fight you.
He's a musician. What's he gonna do? Like, he plays the flute. What's he gonna La La Land me in a street fight?
He could be a pretty good bard. You know,
there's no such thing. Pretty good bard.
He wants me to repeat point number 1. Okay. The first time I was on the show, I mentioned that I had met Ralph McQuarrie. This was his moment as a professional podcaster to follow up with any questions he may have had.
Look, next Halloween, can we get James on? Next Halloween, can we get James on and a Ouija board, and can we summon the ghost of Ralph McQuarrie and confirm some of these deets? Like,
I actually tried one time, and it actually wouldn't go to the letters, but when I looked at what it was doing, it was just tracing dicks on the Ouija board.
That was Ron Cobb. You got the wrong guy.
Oh. Makes sense.
Yeah, he's like, I drew you a John Dykstra. Didn't you get the message?
God,
you're obsessed.
I don't really follow stuff too much on like box office or whatever, but man, West Side Story really that movie really failed pretty hard, and you know, wasn't the kind of movie you want to put out in this climate. And that's what you get, Steven Spielberg, for not making Indiana Jones like you're supposed to, while you were put on God's blue-green earth. The end. But anyways, yeah, who gives a fuck about West Side Story? Let's go to West Side Story and start a fight. That's what I say. Pull chairs up. Act like it's a Megan show in 1995. You know, get serious about it.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Shit. I remember that.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing with the West Side Story that kills me is that you had cats complaining in one podcast about how Hollywood Hollywood is creatively bankrupt because they will only greenlight $100 million known IPs, reboots, and sequels, and then the very next week, West Side Story's film of the year. It's like you don't see the. I mean, it's Spielberg. He could have done any musical that has never been produced, right? How many Broadway musicals from the 60s never got their shot, but he has to go and remake something, you know, like that everyone beloved. Like the West Side Story is it's beloved, that film. Like, why? What was the point of that? Talk about like, we don't need it. No one needed that. There's so many other musicals he could have done. I mean, I've been wanting to see a Spielberg musical, but he went and made that, and then he released it at a time when no one's gonna fucking risk their health to go watch There's
one thing I never asked to see. It was a Spielberg musical. When I watch Close Encounters.
No, opening Temple of Doom is great, bro.
This guy
you're out your mind. The opening to Temple of Doom is brilliant.
Exactly. He should be doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, he could have done West Side Story and mixed it up with some Schindler's.
He could have done Willie Scott, and it's all a musical. Like, how great would that have been?
Yeah, I'm mostly with you, Bill. Like, I'm not really that big on musicals either. I got really drunk one time and went and saw Queen's "We Will Rock You" in Vegas, and I had a good time. And then I tried to watch it not drunk, and I hated every moment of it. So yeah. But okay, what else we got here? We got something else to talk about.
Man wears a fedora every day. It says I'm obsessed.
He doesn't wear a fedora every day.
Wears it to bed.
Jason, can you check?
Wakes up like a coal miner where it's all bent and shit. You know. Like
what was that, James? I mean, Johnny.
Just check the private chat quick. I'll be back in 1 second.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we have this little dilly bob coming up here, and
there is a fan. Hold on, before I forget, it's from the early days of YouTube. Someone made a Batman musical. This guy using the Danny Elfman theme, and this is the execution of the musical is goofy and dumb. But the lyric, right? You know the Batman theme, da, na, 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 right? You know that? It's brilliant, right, Jason? Right. Where Jason? You killed my parents. That's you killed my parents. Like, it's so good. I was like, why did I never think of this?
Yeah. Well, it's like when you hear John Williams' Superman, you can literally hear it saying Superman.
Right.
It definitely.
Richard Donner says that on the making of the Superman when they did that Superman DVD release. He's like, I ran out the theater and kissed him, fucked up the whole thing. And sound booth. He ran out the sound booth into the whatever and hugged him.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I believe that.
Sure.
Because how worried was he? You know.
When he did Goonies.
No, on the Superman, right? I mean, like, dude, think about that. You're making that movie. The whole fucking thing's a nightmare to make the whole time. You got the worst producers. The Salkinds are fucking straight up horrible. Yeah. And they're real fucking dicks. And then you get to everything. You're going out of your mind. Everything sucks. This guy comes in, plays the coolest fucking theme you've heard since Star Wars, right? Like, I mean, and then you go, holy shit, it's all saved. Yeah. You know?
All right, here we go. How the Book of Boba Fett will shake up Star Wars. Director and showrunner Robert Rodriguez takes us inside Disney Plus's ultra secretive new Mandalorian spinoff. We couldn't believe what we got to do.
All right.
I think it was Shinchi.
He went in the back door.
In the ear canal. Most people working at Disney Plus. Lower Shinchi.
Sorry, Spaceballs.
Most people working at Disney Plus had no idea this was coming. When the second season finale of The Mandalorian aired on December 18th, 2020, a mid-credits scene revealed a spin-off series titled The Book of Boba Fett. That this happened just a week after Disney had revealed 10 new Star Wars shows in development in its Investors Day live stream, made the announcement all the more baffling. Didn't the company just present its Star Wars slate? Is The Mandalorian canceled? Nobody thought that. Confused reporters flooded the email inboxes of equally confused publicists, and showrunner John Favreau,
Ben Shapiro thought that, bro.
was quickly booked on Good Morning America to clear things up. Even Disney doesn't know we were going to drop it like that. Marvel's The Book of Boba Fett co-showrunner.
Drop it like it's fat. Drop it like it's fat.
I gotta see the inner workings, and Favreau and writer-producer David Filoni.
I like that voice better. Can you keep that up the whole thing? Max says you got to stay in character, so you remember.
Well, not quite everybody. The studio's top executives in business affairs were in the loop, but still, that Disney Plus would make a show that even shocked many at Disney Plus. And God, too much pluses. Indicates that the level of secrecy at the heart of Favreau and Filoni's closely guarded corner of it's not that amazing. Okay, they took the Mando season 3 and they retitled it to The Book of Boba Fett. That's all that it was. It's not fucking magic. Okay, it's not that amazing, and it's how they did it. It's why are we making this so hard?
Just remember, LucasArts released a Behind the Magic CD once, so someone has always taken themselves a little too serious.
Yeah, I mean,
Behind the Magic.
But this is Hollywood Reporter. I mean, come on, just be like, they retitled the season, and that's why nobody saw it coming. Not to mention the rather surprising amount of freedom given the number of Star Wars theatrical projects developed under talents ranging from the Game of Thrones showrunners David Benioff and D.B. Wise to Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins that had buckled under the weight of the reported creative differences. This is outdated now, guys. Why are you pushing that bullshit?
300 word limit, Jason. You know what I mean? They have to fill this up with something.
Has direct access though. That's kind of dumb. Anyways, it's a privilege the duo undoubtedly has earned, given The Mandalorian is credited for both reinvigorating the Star Wars brand and successfully launching Disney Plus in 2029. I like how to Hollywood, reinvigorating is selling merchandise, though, at the end of the day. I mean, it's not like it did anything more than the movies or less. It sold some merchandise. Anyway, the series became the first non-Netflix show to top Nielsen's weekly streaming chart during its second season.
Hey, remember when Leslie Nielsen was trying to find the two Undertakers? Like what the mystery of the Undertaker in SummerSlam 95? And at the very end, there was no payoff. There was nothing. It went nowhere. I was so bummed out. I'm like, that's the best you could do? All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyways, now comes the Book of Boba Fett, premiering December 29th as the first of many post-Mandalorian live-action Star Wars series out at Disney Plus's gate. The Mandalorian Season 3 and Obi-Wan Kenobi are landing in 2022. But Boba Fett could be key to helping prove the franchise can successfully expand Star Wars TV beyond Mando, which once again, isn't really. It's really just Mando Season 3 when you get down to it. Is it really? And I think Kenobi's the one to prove that, personally. And his instantly iconic ward, Baby Yoda, and Disney undoubtedly hopes the show will provide another buzzy jolt to Disney Plus's subscriber growth. This is the most tedious part I've ever read on the show ever.
It reads like an investor investor speech, you know? Yeah, we got to understand, we got to get total engagement. We have to accumulate the whole world in the first quarter, every quarter. You know, we must get all the dollars or it's a total failure. It's all NFT, this bitch. Blockchain, Disney Plus, it's all over. No one's going to make money anymore. Inflation.
I get it. I'm happy. Okay, Boba Fett was designed by Star Wars creator George Lucas, art director Joe Johnston, and legendary illustrator Ralph McQuarrie from 1980's The Empire Strikes Back. I like that. That is well said. That was well said.
Is Johnny in there?
Is Johnny back?
Is he back?
Who's Johnny? She says.
Yay.
All right. Johnny 5 is alive. Okay, Boba Fett was designed by those guys. The Empire Strikes Back, blah, blah, blah. The terse? What is terse?
Terse.
Google. What is terse? I need to look this up.
It means like resting bitch face for nerds.
Right? Brief and to the point, effectively concise.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, sparing in the use of words. Abrupt. Okay. The terse green helmeted bounty hunter was based loosely on Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name and Sergio Leone's westerns, right down to the jingling spurs on his boots. Fett then suffered a stroke. No, Fett then suffered a rather ignoble death by falling into the Toothy Sarlacc pit. That's the second time we've heard Toothy Sarlacc pit this week. Have you noticed that? I usually
suggested that.
I usually think Pussy Monster inspired Sarlacc pit, right? And 1983 is Return of the Jedi.
I like both.
Oh, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I want to jump right in.
One gets a Fabuloso and the other one just gets a happy.
If I was Boba Fett, I'd be like Scrooge McDuck jumping into the gold. Anyways, after purchasing Lucasfilm in 2012, Disney had other plans for Fett rather than letting the character slowly digest for 1,000 years. A Boba Fett feature film was put into development with Ken Burg, Josh.
Actually, Jason, letting him digest for 1,000 years was part of the plan.
The person who wrote this hasn't done any research at all. I mean, James Mangold reported we just got that literally shot down. Utterly.
I was gonna say, do you think he'll throw the Mangold in there? And I'm like, no, this is there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Now it's true. It's on the Hollywood Reporter, right?
So Fett finally was resurrected in The Mandalorian Season 2, The Tragedy, with New Zealand actor Tamara Morrison, who portrayed Fett's father, Jango, or Jango, if you want to say it correctly, Jango Fett, and the Star Wars prequels, reprising the role. Favreau approached his longtime friend Rodriguez to direct the key episode. He crushed it, Favreau says. we loved his interpretation of the character, and I pitched him and the studio the idea of doing more. So
it sounds like an out of breath Alex Jones, but all right.
I don't know why. I don't know why he has emphysema. 53-year-old Rodriguez, a longtime Star Wars fan. The experience was like being inducted into the order. I don't remember what my Rodriguez voice was earlier than now. I can't even say this is a dream come true because I wouldn't even have thought to dream this. Rodriguez says during a sit down at the Troublemaker studio in Austin. We're in Troublemakers, guys. You know what that
means? We're on Troublemaker studio. We wouldn't even be able to dream all this right here.
at
Thanks to the power of NFE, we was able to conjure up the loot to make it happen.
and you have to play yakety sax before everything you record. You have to know yakety sax, then you can do what you want to do.
Don't talk back. Yeah, I get it.
So Rodriguez says during a sit-down Troublemaker studio, the Sin City director is arguably a perfect fit for Favreau and Filoni's Star Wars hub, even though the devoutly independent filmmaker says he normally doesn't like to get involved with franchises unless they're his creation, such as Spy Kids.
He's like, he's got a permanent confession booth on set. So anytime he fucks up, he can just walk in there and confess. Look at James Cameron. He's like, I'm thinking about making an Avatar in the sky right there. And he's like, you see right there? There's your chances of making Alita 2. Way the fuck back there.
I'm going to make it in the sky next time, and then the other one's going to be under the water. He's like, what, where? Up there? No, I said under the water. Oh, okay. Why are you still looking up there? And then, that's why he couldn't do it.
All I know is Rodriguez is what Tarantino would look like if he'd lose some weight. Like, yeah, I'm just saying. Right? He looks more like a young Tarantino. Rodriguez has aged so well. He looks like it's crazy.
I'm going to say they're actually the same person, and Rodriguez is the inflated version, and Tarantino's the melted version.
Yeah, Rodriguez is the like the TRT HGH version.
Exactly. So, okay, I usually avoid premiere properties. You'll never be able to please everybody. It's a losing game, Rodriguez says. I'd rather
he tried to make Red Sonja for 10 years, but sure, okay.
What's what he does here, since he goes on to the King Conan path, right? I'd rather go do something I've created so nobody can say, hey, that's wrong, because so I created it. So
he tried to do John Carter for a while, didn't he?
I don't know, but he didn't do it, and maybe the reasons why were because of the shit like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I love that freedom. That changed with Boba because he was a character that was always underserved. I agree with him. It was a character way more popular than he should have been based on his limited screen time. So it's almost like starting with an original character. You can kind of do anything you want so long as you make him cool and don't make him a buffoon.
Boba-foon.
Yeah. I mean, no, I mean, I knew that he knew that. I knew he knew this, but it's nice to hear him say it. You know what I mean? Sure. It is nice to, when you hear somebody articulating what is known, then you know it's actually in practice.
Fandom Menace is like, your director says that Boba Fett wasn't really good. Yeah, you can do whatever.
The thing is that this Boba Fett, he's hanging out with Ming-Na Wen, eating soy all the time. He's got titties now. He's lactating. He is low.
Turns out, folks, if you drink enough blue milk, you turn into a Yoder. You know, it's
a Yoder.
Yeah, Star Wars conspiracy. Star Wars conspiracy.
And we got chemtrails making the Jar Jars gay. Anyways, Filoni headed the Clone Wars animated series.
Gay frogs, Jar Jar Binks, just saying.
Gay gungans, just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
It is what the liberal elite media wants with their liberal false flags of a Clone War that never should have happened. Has a theory as to why fans have remained fascinated with that, despite him having only 6 minutes of screen time in the original trilogy. I think that
here's the deal, folks. Clones are just Sumerian for COVID. Yeah. All right, like it's a replicating, engineered by Camoenians or whatever.
Don't give the quartering any ideas.
Right.
It is Sumerian. I think
with Fett, despite him having only 6 minutes of screen time in the original trilogy, Filoni says, I think the design of the costume, especially the helmet, is iconic, he says. The details from the dent on the crown of the helmet, the emblems, scuff marks, cloak, and braids all spoke of a greater story and adventure that the character had experienced. I think it was always fun to imagine what those adventures were. Now we get to tell some of them. So if the Book of Boba Fett teaser trailers released so far seem a bit less than epic, it's due to a deliberate act of restraint.
We meant to do it.
Yeah, the producers have only revealed
master
footage.
Plan.
Hold on, this is important. The producers have only revealed footage from the 7-episode season's opening minutes. So it's exactly what we thought. You know what I mean? Like, remember we were talking, is it from the first episode? They're saying it's only the first minutes, dude. So like what did we talk about yesterday with Ming-Na Wen? Sorry, I didn't mean to shush you. I didn't mean to shush you, Rob.
You said, wait a minute, I'm letting you finish.
Okay. No, I wanted to make that
I'm easily canceled, bro. Just don't worry about it. It's so easy.
But we were talking last night because Ming-Na Wen in another interview, she was like, we start after that moment, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure we see sideways moments.
And what if at the 7-minute one mark, they all turn into cartoons? Like, we just did not see it coming, right? Yeah. And it's the animated Boba Fett show. Like, they got us, like 2D, just like the holiday special.
So the producers have only revealed footage from the 7-episode season's opening minutes. We can't use the second half of the first episode because it gives so much away, Rodriguez says. But the basics are that Boba and his assassin partner Fennec Shand, Ming-Na Wen, have taken over Jabba the Hutt's palace on Tatooine, a move that sends them on a journey into the previous.
Boba brought his dogs. They've ruined the fucking all the rooms.
like Josh Trank was going to make the story, but now we're making the story about Josh Trank.
Maxie Big, that Landis pad. What did he say? What?
Boba gives this direct connection to the Star Wars saga since he was involved in that story, Filoni says. This creates a nice crossover point for both classic characters and new characters. Much of The Mandalorian was new or had not been seen on screen. Through Boba Fett, we can weave some of those characters and tales together using a character we know but don't know a lot about. Rodriguez adds that the character specifically invites a whole world from the underworld in with him. Things turn up you don't expect. You see things we couldn't believe we got to do, he says. Every episode has big surprises, like Bosk. The producer hints combine to suggest some familiar faces or helmets might be showing up, especially if the series not only flashes back to how Fett escaped the Sarlacc pit, as fans hope, but just perhaps to other moments during Fett's on-scene screen time during the original trilogy as well. So is this just wild speculation on their part? Because we supposedly see Darth Vader in this, and so I'm guessing that they're gonna, if it goes that way, we're gonna see some kind of flashback.
Well, I wonder if they have any of that stuff laying around from The Force Awakens, where they're gonna have Luke and Vader sort of doing that in the Force back.
Yeah, it was filmed.
Cloud City. Yeah, so if they just have anything left over from that, they could repurpose that to maybe see a little bit of Boba in that aesthetic, that Cloud City aesthetic, maybe.
Yeah. Or would they show
DH Han Solo?
Well, Boba and DH Han Solo is probably going to be a thing, but or would they have how Boba works with him? You know what I mean? Well, so wait, there's
like my legitimate pick for Grogu's name would have been YOLO. Like that was my pick when they first. I'm like, why didn't they just name him YOLO? Like that would have been great.
Yeah,
whatever. Solo, YOLO, like it would have been awesome. Those two stuck together for Christmas Vacation like movie, you know.
So the Book of Boba Fett is unusual for a franchise action series in that it stars a 60-year-old Morrison and a 50-year-old Wen, who somehow looks like she still gets carded in bars. You never feel
Remember
like
when
you're
50 looked like B. Arthur?
Yeah,
you know,
right?
like amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. They used to have like they used to like, you know, start
Well, you have to
getting
pick
that
on a
little
woman. All right,
grandma.
remember when 50 looked like me? Like, I just want to be fair. You know, I just want to be fair. I don't want to pick on anyone. Like, remember when 50 looked like this? You could look like me now, but you can look like me. Like, it's just amazing. There.
Well, like women used to like devolve into like these like little white afros. Like, I don't know what that was about. Like, why was that a thing? But anyways, the Book of Boba Fett is usually for a franchise action series, 60-year-olds. You never feel like you're in an older cast.
There's a multiverse where George Burns got the same haircut. You know what I mean? Like to pump up his hair back in the day. And I want to live in that universe so much too. Where he comes out with the stogie and the Bob Ross silver, you know?
Yeah.
So good.
They're so youthful and energized, Rodriguez says. Tim and I work out together. He really is Boba Fett. And for when I would design whole sequences just to end on her and the look she would give Boba because she's so badass. Tim knows this is his moment and he knows this is her moment. And when you get actors like that, they go for it and it's palpable. I could see that. I mean, this is like in a really, really weird way, those two maybe on the pop culture landscape anyway, are kind of probably peaking, but at 60, which is different and good for them, you know. Adds Filoni, Tim brings the intensity and the sense of weathered experience that a well-traveled bounty hunter needs while maintaining a sense of fun and adventure. He had more dialogue than Fett has ever had to deliver, but it's also a very physical role. And Tim was there for it, training and enduring a lot of action. So, a lot of action. Wen's character was introduced in the first season of The Mandalorian and then was seemingly killed off. There was no seemingly, she says with a laugh. It was very clear at the time. But Favreau and Filoni had a change of heart, decided to concoct a storyline whereby Boba revived Fennec and the duo teamed up. When made her deal to return, she thought she was simply signing on to more Mandalorian. They're so secretive that when dealing with the contracts, there isn't even a title for the show. It's all under pseudonym. She says, I naturally assumed I was doing Mandalorian season 3 until I showed up on set. Hey, can you give me some Pall Malls? Wen adds that the spinoff feels more gritty than the other series. We've always dealt with the Empire and the Jedis. This was more about these gangster families and has a rawness to it, she says. It's quite different from The Mandalorian, which is more like a Western. Part of the show's challenge will be distinguishing Fett from Disney Plus's other stoic helmeted bounty hunter. Mando has a character inspired was a character inspired by Boba Fett without technically being Boba Fett, right down to Mando freezing his captured fugitives in carbonite. One difference will come as a bit of a relief. Unlike Mando, whose creed mandates that he conceals his identity, Fett doesn't seem to have any particular qualms about removing his helmet. He barebacks it. Freeing the spinoff from the flagship series.
Space herpes is kind of a thing, actually. We didn't want to talk about it, but George was he said it was his Vietnam.
Yeah,
space herpes.
And by the end of it, I don't think that's even a thing anymore. I think they will.
Vietnam? No, that ended.
It's over.
The space herpes is real. It's in his chain code. If you look in that scene we put right there in Aurebeage, we did it in Aurebeage, so you'd be able to be a space herpes.
I went and I said, "What can I get for $5?" And they said, "Sucky, me love you long time."
Oh shit!
Also point out
size noodles.
I gotta say,
She's got bee stung lips. I'm just saying.
Pretty fucking good at it, though. I mean, Spice Noodles probably.
I would rather her than Yasm. Like, I'm just saying, dude. Like,
Yasm would bite that shit. He'd bite your junk off. Rodriguez also points out that Fett's scant prior screen time leaves a lot of wiggle room for invention. The filmmaker seized onto King Conan. See, I've been saying it the whole time. And The Godfather as specific inspirations. Boba bites off more than he can chew, and we definitely do not make it easy for him, Rodriguez says. It's easy to sit on the throne. It's not easy to stay on. So that's what it's like.
Peg, it's true.
Become a leader. There's push and pull in that. What is he trying to become? We really go in depth into the character. For Rodriguez, joining Star Wars has roots going back decades, and his career has intersected with the franchise in unexpected ways. While many genre filmmakers cite The Empire Strikes Back as an influential favorite, Rodriguez was perhaps even more impacted by an hour-long making-of special about Empire that aired on CBS. A 12-year-old Rodriguez taped the special on a VCR and wore out that tape for years, he says. That's really what got me into filmmaking.
What year?
What's that?
What year?
The making of Empire?
That was on TV. He recorded that. What year was that?
It was probably would have been like 81 or 82, I would think.
He had a Betamax player in 81, 82?
Maybe.
He's a rich kid.
Maybe. It says VCR. I don't know. Yeah, he definitely was though. I don't think we got a VCR in my house till 87, honestly.
It wasn't big because they had a VHS in 81, 82, man. That wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
Would not cheap.
That's really what got me into filmmaking, just seeing the craftsmanship the movie took. There's no
Hey James, let us know how much that cost.
All right. It's all modeled. Nobody I can't see what you're talking about without putting the comment on the screen.
Oh no, he hasn't. I'm obsessed. So I'm just
okay, yeah. No, it's definitely good. You get to see a lot of behind the scenes of Hoth. That's pretty cool, by the way, on that one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we could probably do, I don't know. We might be able to do a video reacting to it.
That's a Patreon. Look, Patreon's doing that video thing where they host their own. I think we should do that there so we can do it and not have to worry about the video getting shut off, you know?
Yeah. But it made me want to do that stuff, is what he says. Fast forward to 2001 when Rodriguez was sound mixing Spy Kids at Skywalker Ranch. Since his debut with 1992's El Mariachi, which he famously shot for just $7,000, the filmmaker
and would never stop telling us
has typically worn many hats. Well, I mean, good on him. That's fucking amazing. IMDb
is great, but it just $7,000. It wasn't 7,001. It wasn't 6,099.99. It was 7,000.
Well, he's a nerd, but he's not a huge nerd. Like, it was $7,001.55.
If it was Kurtz, it could have been $12,000. We don't know.
Hey, Johnny, whenever you read IMDb, do you ever read IMD flat?
No.
Sorry. Anyways, credits him with
excellent response.
Composer on
delivery.
The editor on 30 projects, the camera operator 11 projects. When Lucas heard a young filmmaker was mixing his film sound himself at the Marin County studio, he invited Rodriguez up for his office for a chat. George said, "You should check out these digital cameras I'm using," and showed me some green screen tricks.
He also said, "That's a guy who can get around unions." You know what I'm saying? Like, he really knows how to.
Okay, so that this documentary came out September 22nd, 1980.
1980. Okay. Nice.
Okay, so VHS in 80, man. You guys gotta understand, like those players. I got one in 1996 out of a junkyard that still worked, only because I needed an RF adapter for a TV for my Nintendo 64. So I got it in September 27, 1996, but it was this giant fucking thing with a little VHS.
Yeah. Well, and also though, I mean, they played that shit over and over again. And they also, I think they showed it on Showtime before The Empire Strikes Back as well. When Empire went to Showtime, there's always a chance he got it a bit later. Because I don't really know his age, and they say 12, but they may be making an assumption. And so yeah, before it aired on Showtime, they did show that making of Empire a lot. I remember as a kid watching the moment on Showtime. You know, when Luke falls down the Bespin chasm. I don't know what do you call that? He tries to commit suicide
and he screams. No, wait, not in the original.
Yeah, not in the original when he falls down. They showed that matte painting, and I remember my dad going, "That's a painting, amazing!" And I was just like, yes, but did you think they really made that? I remember thinking that as a kid. You know, like
they trained a shark in Jaws. It's true.
It was like the guy who did train Flipper. He trained Jaws. Anyways, George said,
sorry, Jason. The reason I don't think of that as D flat is because that's just C sharp. So
right, you're right.
And Jaws would inappropriately try to rate Richard Dreyfuss repeatedly on set because Flipper taught all sorts of bad fucking.
Yeah. George said,
"It's not funny, but I gotta laugh."
Check out these digital cameras that I'm using, and showed me some green screen tricks, and that's what got me into shooting digital. Rodriguez says. He was a mentor at a stage where I went from doing films like From Dusk Till Dawn and Desperado to doing the pioneering all green screen film Sin City. Thanks, George. In addition to sharing a love of technical innovation, George and Rodriguez also have in common a sort of insider-outsider status. They strive to make popular films for wide audiences while maintaining their independence and control in hubs far from Hollywood. Rodriguez shot most of his work in Austin, though Boba Fett was in Los Angeles, helping fuel the region's production boom.
And inflation.
As Rodriguez tells it, right now the ghost of Kirk is like, no.
No.
As Rodriguez is Lucas-inspired seg into digital filmmaking eventually led to getting hired to direct writer-producer James Cameron's long gestating passion project, Alita, Battle Angel, in 2019. A live-action anime adaptation that was widely praised for its CG work and became the biggest production ever shot in Texas.
It's only called Alita Battle Angel because Cameron only makes movies that begin with the letters T and A.
Stupid.
John saw do the math.
Yeah. John saw Alita, and that got me into Mandalorian, Rodriguez says. But the only reason I started doing high-tech filmmaking way back then in Austin, of all places, was because of George. It's kind of funny because I have, if you go back on Making Star Wars, I had written a lot about the camaraderie and the intermingling of Avatar back then, the Avatar work that was being done in Mandalorian. So you kind of see how, in a weird way, how he probably end up getting into that mix. I mean, the George connection, surely that's amazing, but that doesn't, knowing George doesn't necessarily get you Boba Fett today. I think it's actually
less likely to get you Boba Fett, to be perfectly honest, the way George works,
Yeah,
it's just pretty good for like Shadows of the Empire too, like we're thinking.
So as a certain Sith Lord once intoned, the circle is now complete. Asked if he discussed the Book of Boba Fett with Lucas during shooting, Rodriguez goes, "Still, I can't tell you," he says, "and you don't need Jedi mind powers to figure that one out." And then
is that Dave Filoni?
Right?
That's my Matrix version of Filoni. When I go into the Matrix, that's what I look like.
Rose McGowan and Robert Rodriguez with mentor George Lucas right in 2007. He's like, "I'm trying not to look down. I'm trying to look Robert Rodriguez in the eyes. I'm trying not to look at Rose McGowan right now."
He's like, "I'm sorry, I just woke up."
No, he's all. And that's when I came up with the idea. Everyone must wear a stupid cowboy hat if they want to work with me, so I can look at the stupid cowboy hat. And then Filoni heard that, and he walked in with that stupid ass hat, and he never took it off.
George used to always say to me, he'd go, "Can you make a shark boy and lava girl? Because if you can't, you don't need to be here." And I'd be like, I don't think I can. And I've been working on that ever since.
Filming for the Book of Boba Fett began in late November 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, which played to Rodriguez's strengths as an indie filmmaker, accustomed to plowing forward and improvising amid uncertain conditions. I came out of the gate firing away. "Let's shoot, because we might not be here next week. We might get shut down," he says. We never got shut down, so I was showing sequences already edited to John and Dave after the first 3 weeks, and they were like, "I can't believe how much you shot already."
Is he confirming that Kathy just shoots everything down the second you start making a Star Wars thing? Like,
no, because of COVID. They might.
COVID. I just, you know what it's like around here. She just cancels everything.
No.
Shit.
No.
COVID.
They weren't sure if he was going to legally be allowed to film. But we never got shut down. So I was showing sequences already edited to John and Dave after the first 3 weeks, and they were like, "I can't believe how much you already shot." We kept shooting like every day, like it was going to be our last day. The pandemic also impacted the show's creative, as it, incentivized the team to provide some escapist relief for fans. It was a bleak time that spurred us on even more to just make everything as entertaining as possible, Rodriguez says. While the budget for the project isn't known, it's likely somewhere in the ballpark of the $100 million mark Disney spent for The Mandalorian's debut. I think Mando spent a lot more than that. Rodriguez wound up directing nearly half of the episodes himself, 3 of the big ones, as he puts it, as well as voicing 2 characters, including the mayor, whose voiceover is heard in the trailer. What?
So Rodriguez is doing that voice, not Pedro Pascal?
But then they're saying that Lucasfilm was reportedly saying that it that was Pedro Pascal, and they confirmed it to them, including the mayor, whose voice is heard in the trailer. So I think I'm going to think that this seems much more specific and accurate.
Is this like a how Mark Hamill sort of does voices for Star Wars? That might be what this is? Like it was his voice, it's just not the character.
Well, I'm thinking, I'm guessing that the mayor is the guy on what was he? Was he
McCheese?
A squid head? What was it? What was the guy?
Reese.
No, Reese is 3 eyes, dude.
The
fucking dude
about calamari.
No, it's not a calamari.
No, close. It's close.
Before
Squid Game.
I can't remember what he looks like now. Before shooting sequences, Wen says the father of 5 would previs ideas by filming with action figures in his backyard with his kids, once again drawing on his 12-year-old self. Then the show.
It's the Quarrens.
The Quarrens. Then the show. Is that what the guy is in the series? Who's sitting down? Who's talking to Boba?
The McQuarrens.
Yeah, but,
Mayor McQuarrens. You're up last.
Is that what he is? Rob, is that what he is?
Well, the squid heads in Jedi are Quarrens.
Is that what the guy is in the teaser? Is what I'm asking. I can't remember what that dude is.
That was an Ithorian, man. The Hammerheads.
Okay, yeah. That's it. The Authority was the Hammerhead. I couldn't picture him. So I'm guessing that the Ithorian is the mayor. That's all we have.
Oh, okay.
And if they're only talking about the first few minutes, then that has to be. I mean, I think that's what we can take down. The Ithorian Hammerhead dude is the mayor, and it's voiced by Robert Rodriguez, and that means it's not Pedro Pascal in the trailer.
So he's definitely getting killed, the mayor. We can put that on the fucking...
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So before shooting sequences, Wen says the father of 5 would previs ideas by filming with action figures in his backyard with his kids, once again drawing on his 12-year-old self, then show the footage to the actors with sound effects. So just like Return of the Jedi, just like from Star Wars Jedi, the Making of the Saga, where you see how they did
we tried that, but McCollum wouldn't stop making pew pew noises like the whole fucking time. He wouldn't shut up. So we had to stop.
What he kept doing is he kept taking the action figures and saying, I'm Jennifer Lopez and I'm Ben Affleck and we're Bennifer, and then he would make him do it.
And he kept making them snort little mini powdered donuts. I mean, why would they do that?
Just could not stop dunking on Ben Affleck no matter what. Rodriguez had to adhere to certain Star Wars standards, however, which sometimes meant coloring inside the lines. There was nobody going, these are the rules. It was like, what you mean it's not like they say where Kathleen Kennedy's just breathing down your neck the whole time? I mean, it just
hate bait, bro. Rodriguez says there are no rules at the Lucasfilm Story Group.
They'll just fire you. They'll just fire you, dude. No, so there was nobody going, these are the rules. It was more
I'm
like,
Santa Bait, and I'm here with more headlines for you.
it was more like saying the color feels very safe and we want it to feel more dangerous. So can we change it to this color? He says, and they go, those are the colors we've used. So let's try one of those ones out. But I can't reveal what. So we're revealing
You
a
can't
color.
reveal the color.
Yeah, it sounds like
It's a
a
secret.
lightsaber color. I
This
guess
is like James's. James, you should get on the production, bro. Like, you guys are good at keeping secrets.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is lightsaber. So we're revealing a color would be a spoiler. It'll be evident when you see the show. We probably see a little baby Yoda's lightsaber. Looking forward,
Shay, hey man, this is a family show.
yeah. Looking forward, Rodriguez. It would be like a little Christmas light, little Christmas tree light. Looking forward, Rodriguez has recently finished filming an action thriller, Hypnotic, starring Ben Affleck. Oh shit! He's all, you're working on that Star Wars, huh? Yeah, well, I was Batman. Fuck Rick McCallum. Is he still walking around those halls?
That's probably why McCallum's fresh in his mind.
Probably.
Those stories came back up recently,
He's developing a modern-day female-led Zorro reboot directed by his sister, Rebecca Rodriguez, who also recently signed an overall deal with HBO Max and has partnered with, how do you say that? Cinedigm? To relaunch self-curated El Rey cable channel, which focused on indie genre titles as a streaming service.
And I just want to say, I once had my art featured on the El Rey network. They did a Dolph Lundgren weekend. Yeah, and I did this He-Man piece and I drew it like if 1995 Stephen Platt did, so super gritty. He's got the battle axe. Yeah, and they were like, "Can we run this on the El Rey network?" I'm like, "You absolutely can." Like,
I want to say the only thing I maybe watched on there was the From Dusk Till Dawn series, and it was just not good. A much speculated Alita sequel also is still possible. Is it though? Did that movie make money? I don't know.
Alita, it probably broke even. Wasn't yeah. Oh, I love the movie. I think Bill's like, "What are you making fun of?" I love the movie. She shouldn't have been CGI face. There's some the shots in there. They got that guy who played Francis in Deadpool, right?
Wait, Francis from Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
No, from Deadpool. That's why I said Francis from Deadpool. And Big Adventure. Yeah. So it was kind of, you got to hear. So he be obsessed with me like I am with James. So he's live action with the CGI cyborg body, and the blending's perfect. Yeah. It's indistinguishable. I mean, like, it is so good. But she's a CGI because they had to go with the anime eyes, and I'm like, they should have just done the blending is so good that it's just the uncanny valley a lot of people couldn't get past the. I mean, I had to drag my wife to go see it. She's like, I don't know. Then she's like, I like this movie. It's really good. I'm like, I know, but it was hard to get people to get past the uncanny valley part.
The trailer didn't make me want to see it. Yeah, but they say a sequel is possible. Then let him do Boba, and he'll come make a pitch. As for Bounty Hunter's future, it's never been clear whether Boba Fett is meant to be a limited or recurring series, and no surprise the producers aren't saying. I think they've already said it's a series. Rodriguez thinks there's a good chance this is only the beginning of Fett's return, though the director is currently signed on for the debut season alone. If people really love it, I'm sure they'd want to make more, he says. And if they do, fans might literally be the first to know. What? Oh, whatever. So yeah, there we go. There we have it. A lot of Boba Fett jazz amid. So that's the end. Goodbye.
It's it. No more Fett. We don't know. Like if he came back after being digested in a Sarlacc pit, chances are he'll come back after the series. Like, come on.
Yes, I've been in the other tab, but hey Santa, hey Meg, how's it going, guys? Yeah, I really do hope that at the very end is Mace coming. Is like some kind of reveal of Mace, and then because that right there, there's just a lot to. There's a lot to play with there in the sense that in the weirdest of ways, Mace has a lot in common with the characters of that show. He's also dead and then brought back. You know what I mean? There is kind of like a almost they kind of have like a similar plight, you know. And
really felt they should have brought him back for the sequel trilogy. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like you. Well, how could he? He could be super fucking old. It would have been a crazy trick that the man kept himself alive. You know, like there's just so many opportunities to bridge the two prequels and the sequels together. You know that. So if he is, you know, and I know some people here, I don't want to say names, seem to have all the answers. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like I always feel bad when people are very confident and it doesn't work out because they think, oh, that means that everything they say is fake. It isn't. It's just it's so hard, as you know, with big reveals. Like there's a guy I know who told me about the Kingpin reveal 6 or 7 months ago. You know,
Right.
I was like, look, man, you got to be careful saying that stuff because they're gonna really fucking rake you if you're wrong on that. It's just too big. It's just when it's little things, as you know, Jason. When it's like, hey, there's a Naboo chunk in that, you know, they're gonna be repurposing Naboo starfighters for swoops. That's one thing. But then when you're like, hey, remember that big Sam Jackson character that also killed the dude's dad's coming back? And if that ain't in there, they're not going to remember what they saw. They're going to remember what they didn't see, you know? So it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was reading that article, because I was like reading and operating things, I like completely brain farted on the Ithorian Hammerhead. I was like, what is that guy? I remembered like his like stupid face, but I couldn't put it together for some reason. I don't know why.
And when you say squid, I think of the Return of the Jedi character.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The Quarrens.
I was like, what the fuck was he? You know what? It's like on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, I think so too. Like if Han Solo, if those rumors about Han appearing end up being accurate, it's like, okay, I still think if Han and Boba meet, I could see it being just a comedic moment, not like a standoff, because at the end of the day, Han Solo threw him into that pit blind. It just goes that way. But Mace Windu, on the other hand, that's not a light
Decapitated his father.
cut off his daddy's head. You know what I mean?
You know? And then he held I mean, the fact that head never plopped out is just, it's crazy.
I think it was already at his feet, and he's just like, I'm not going to look down. This is Daddy's face. This is Daddy's face.
So it's such a weird shot. He cut his head off. It'd be one thing if the helmet was off and then he got his head cut off and that helmet was separate, but I don't know. It was odd.
Or did Jango become one with the Force? Was he a Jedi the entire time? I don't know. Watch Mike Zero's videos tonight to find out. But yeah, I have a feeling that they're going to want to do something like that. I mean, it's a huge missed opportunity if they don't, and it's there, and everybody wants it, and they want to do it. I know they want to do it, you know, and but at the same time, my whole thing is it becomes like a big moment. But the payoff is where it's weird.
I mean, what goes down when they meet? Like, if they meet, like, are they gonna like? I don't see like Boba Fett walking away from that confrontation. So it's got to be some sort of conversation that goes on. Like, is it going to turn into a therapy session? Like, you know, hey, you killed my dad.
I think what you have in essence is you have a Mace Windu who's been disfigured. And by what happens to him, he gets his arm cut off and he's thrown down. Who knows how he landed? You know, you can make him all damaged and give him an eye patch or something if you need to. And then he hasn't been able to use the Force because he's been in hiding. So we kind of have an Alec Guinness version of Kenobi, so to speak, as opposed to the Ewan McGregor version of Kenobi. And then now we have more of an equal fight, if you will. And of course, Mace most likely is going to be going after him to get revenge for what? I killed your dad. Now I'm going to kill you too. That doesn't make any sense. But Boba wanting to kill him could mean that he ends up on the hunt for that Jedi. And obviously, we don't have Mace living very long.
It'd be interesting though if Mace had done a form of Force seppuku where he severed his ties to the Force.
Well,
Like
that's
he can't use it.
That's what Luke does. Luke does that.
Yeah. So like, but if they really actually explored that, like,
With
so
more
he
finality,
is
though, like he cannot use the Force at all.
yeah, he couldn't just come back now. Like he completely severed all ties. Is what I'm trying to say. Like there maybe there's
that
he goes right into midi-chlorians and he just you know
that it actually like breaks the rules.
Oh no, it doesn't. No.
Being able to isolate yourself from everything around you completely is within the metaphysical rules of it. But
the rules were made up by Castaneda, so there's the rule.
Exactly.
We know this.
If you're a luminous being and the forces and everything, you just couldn't separate yourself from it forever, though. I mean,
actually, the wills, if you they're in the quantum mania, so if you go down in there, you can.
if they did that, then they would be able to say, "Oh, this is our force gun. You can't use the force anymore." They'd be able to.
Why didn't I think of a force gun? Shit. That would have been great if you just give him force guns.
If Mace did survive, people would be fucking insufferable. Years to stew on how he was right about Anakin. I can't see him embracing failure the way Yoda did. He's like,
that would be great to watch, though. We'd finally see Mace emote. I don't think you could take a gun and shoot someone's ability to use a force away. I think you could sever your ties to the universe in a way that would promote a form of force nihilism.
Yeah.
I think there's a definite idea there.
Okay. Check it out, though. Mace Windu. Cut to him. He's a little bit older, right? But he's a cool guy. Okay? He's a cool guy. So he has 3, 4, 5 wives. Total polygamist. He has all these kids. Just tons of kids. And then Boba like scopes out. He's like, okay, I found him. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to turn him into the Imperial Remnant. Imperial Remnant swoops in, takes all the kids as stormtroopers. And there goes Finn.
Well, I was saying Finn should have been related to Mace Windu. Like I'm not saying because he's black, because that to me is the legacy.
No, because he's black. That's why. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. I know, right? Because I got but I like that the legacy of tying the prequels. That to me was the connection. If you wanted to have a royal connection, that would have been the one.
Yeah.
So, and you couldn't get further from the heir to a Jedi being a pawn of the Empire. The thing that essentially, he was, and he could resolve his family. I wasn't able to defeat the Emperor then, but maybe now I can, right? Kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, also too. I mean, it's also interesting if you did have Mace come into the fold for a while, before Boba kills him, which I think he should be able to. Before that happens, you also have Ahsoka.
Mace Windu's like, look, they call me Mace, but she's the old ball and chain.
You have but I mean, you have Luke Skywalker, who's going to, I would assume, want to lure Ahsoka Tano back into the Jedi Order. He needs help.
Marry with Force children,
right? But then if you have Mace Windu come back into it too,
okay,
that complicates things, because Ahsoka Tano is not about that Mace Windu Jedi Order. Like she was expelled from it, then asked to return, and was like, "Fuck you guys, I'm out." And then you look at what happens in the eventuality. He does get to say I was right about him, but I could see that as maybe
there's also an arc there where you can take the Gen Xer approach, where he's like, well, it doesn't fucking matter what I did, fuck him. And you're like, but you could have helped. He's like, yeah, but fuck him. You know what I mean? Like, if they wanted help, they wouldn't have screwed themselves.
Yeah. And
I just think those, again, characters making choices and suffering the consequences, good or bad, is always the best decision. Yeah, but you could have. I could have, Kyle, but I don't care. like, what? Yeah.
Meg says Boba could hear of a lost Jedi living out in hiding. Boba definitely heard of Order 66, but never found out about the duel with Palps and Mace surviving. Now he does. Maybe that's the cliffhanger. Yeah, I could definitely see that those general story beats working and being a thing. And I'm not. And you know what, he may even know what happened, because Palpatine does go out and say like the Jedi attacked me, and he does say what happened. So we could guess that if there was more coverage of it in the Star Wars universe for everyone, who inside the universe, and he thinks, well, that's it, and then now you have that character who is Star Wars very much sets up like once you want revenge and then you get it, now who are you and what do you do with yourself? And that's where Boba, I think, finds himself eventually, because he never gets to get that. And so in a weird way, it's very anti-Jedi. It's very anti the message of Star Wars. But if he does get that revenge, it's fun.
Yeah, but showing failed character arcs needs to be part of the Star Wars fold. If everyone has, and then they make the good decision in the end, it's just, it's just a matter of time before it eats itself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts, Johnny? Mace back? Yes or no? Would you want it? Do you want it? Do you think it will happen?
I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it would be cool to see. I don't know. Like, is Mace just gonna be like the old curmudgeon that's like, fuck the Force, fuck the Jedi, like Rob said, like these guys fuck themselves over, or does he turn into like some sort of like weird Templar-esque holy warrior that like doubles down on what his view of the Jedi should have been?
Yeah,
but I just don't think Boba wants anything to do with Jedi at all. I think he's just focused on taking over his crime lord sort of throne thing, and he wants to stay away from Luke. He wants to stay away from the theoretical Mace. He doesn't want anything to do with these guys. He knows things go wrong and they get all up in his business. So I think it's a stretch, and I think it's, I don't know. If they were going to do it, maybe the sequel trilogy, but it just seems like hey, we got Han, we got Grogu. Where's Mace? And
yeah. When you examine everything post Return of the Jedi with the current lens of what we do have, Palpatine and Vader would have two designs on Mace, and Palpatine would want to turn him into an Inquisitor, and Darth Vader, you would think, would want to kill him. But also he was also integral to the moment when Vader does turn. So having him in that inner fold would be weird, would be kind of strange. But I mean, could always turn out he was an Inquisitor. They did do all that Shatterpoint shit where he was like kind of a dark side kind of thing, but kind of not. And then when you have everything shift over and what happens, I mean, we may learn that Mace Windu had a fate like that. I don't think that'll happen. I think what Meg is suggesting would be the more logical, obviously good choice. But yeah, Luke says he is okay with a Mace return, but I don't want a confrontation with Boba. Have a shot of Mace watching from the shadows, sure, but think you're going to disappoint too many people with a confrontation. Yeah, I think they're gonna Don King that shit. Is Don King the guy from boxing? I think they're gonna build it up. I don't think they would go right to it. I think they would lay it out there and then be like, ooh, when's it gonna happen? And stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if we ended up getting it where they set that up and then we get a Mace Windu series where we see Windu throughout all this stuff, and then it culminates with this other show, big fight or something like that. I mean, there is sort of, when you have several running shows at one time, it is not unlike UFC or boxing or wrestling for that matter. It's like
side control.
Arcs. Yeah, side control. That's important.
That's the name. That's the code name for Mace Windu's TV series. Side control.
Gotta have side control. You definitely gotta have side control.
Dark side control.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah. What are our options for Mace? Mace could have gone off the grid entirely, resigned any Jedi affiliation, and now lives as a citizen. Yeah, I mean, I think you really have the classic way where they just go into hiding and become farmers or something like that, or an Inquisitor. Don't get me wrong. Inquisitor is not a pet theory of mine, but modern Star Wars, those are the options, right? Star Wars Santa says Mace is totally alive. No way he's dead at this point. With the other survivors, they need to explain Mace not being alive.
I disagree with that. He got shot out of a window. I mean, like, you don't even have to explain that at all. He just fell out a window, a massive building.
I think Santa's perspective is
the problem, Johnny, with that theory, right? With that, hold on. The problem with that is we just had a movie that took place right before this movie where Anakin just fell like 7 million fucking feet and could just land on any floating car known to man.
He's a cat.
You know, perfectly. So like all he has to do is just kind of like this and then grab onto something.
No, he only has one arm, so he's like, whoa! He's like, whoa! Slow down!
You know?
I think my point was more like, if they're not going to touch on Mace at all, then they don't have to touch on why he's actually dead. Like, they could just leave it as that.
Yeah, for sure. But if you don't see them go on screen and then fade away or burst into flames or something like that, you know, because in terms of people that were thrown down holes, Maul was chopped in half, thrown down a hole. Darth Maul's situation is technically worse than Mace's. He came back. Boba Fett got
Palpatine go down the hole.
Yeah, Palpatine got thrown into a giant pussy man anus thing, and also came back. Luke Skywalker fell down a giant hole. Was fine. It was just
Mace Windu went down a hole. I mean, Boba Fett went down a hole.
For some reason, that was so funny to me as a child. Like when I saw it, I showed it to my kids, and they were like looking at it, and then I was like, dude, I was in tears when I saw this as a kid.
I still laugh. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, with Star the I don't know if it's a problem, but the thing is when we deal with this level of melodrama and realism in the thing, if they want to bring him back, it's fair game at this point by the universe's rules. I do think if they ever firmly decide they're not going to do it, then they'll definitely give us that moment, like in a novel. Then Mace Windu's head shattered on the Coruscant streets, and his eyeballs, blood ran out of them, and his soul left his little tiny armless body. They'll write something like that. But he's been pushing for it. And ever since around the time of the production of Boba Fett, he's been wearing the t-shirts on Instagram saying Mace lives and stuff like that, and trying to push. And when he won't talk about picking purple, or I am assuming he wouldn't say what the color was, because if he said purple, people would know it's Mace Windu. That's my guess. That is my guess, though. That's my hope.
Is more of a lavender, I thought.
But I mean,
amethyst.
I mean, while I would love to see a fight that goes down where Boba does spend his whole life waiting for this revenge, and he doesn't get it until he's later in life or whatever, and then it happens. That's cool, but I really want to see what happens on the backdrop of that when Luke Skywalker has these different disparate Jedis coming up, who all have, like right now, they are all completely coming from a different angle. Like if with Luke got all of the possible Jedi in the galaxy together in one room, was like, so welcome to the first new Jedi meeting of I
want to thank everyone for being here to the Jedi, the Next Order. It's totally way better than the original series. We're gonna have wacky adventures, and we got a new principal, and we got the nerdy new student Grogu. It's so amazing here.
And R2 made punch and pie.
And R2 he made punch and pie, and but tastes like robot. I don't want to say it's semen. It says it does taste like robot semen. I don't know why, but it does. Space smells like burnt steak, and this food tastes like robot semen. I don't know why.
But you end up you do that does put Luke Skywalker into an interesting place, because there's nothing more boring to me than Luke Skywalker going down, signing a lease for a place, and then everybody just shows up, and it's like Cobra Kai. Hey, yeah, I'd like to sign up for Jedi lessons. Oh, come on in. I'm Luke Skywalker. Hey, guess what? First month's free. After that, it's $150 a week, and I need to be paid up front.
There is a great spoof to be made of Cobra Kai where Luke sets up his academy and Mace Windu sets up the Sith Academy. Yeah. We don't give a fuck about Jedi Academy right next door. You want to do some real shit.
Yeah, it's definitely
He's got a saber hand. You know what I mean?
Meg says the doubters will see. It's no longer.
I'm trying to savor the trouble, man. Like I'm trying to be like, what if? There's always a chance, Meg. As Jason knows, there's always a chance to be 100% duped. You got to put it like in the 80% category. Got to be careful.
I like Luke's 1986 and the Star Wars Galaxy 1986. The first new rule of 86 is orgies are allowed. Yeah, I have to say I just don't I just don't want to see it be as boring as that. And like Luke actually having somebody like Mace Windu tell him how it's supposed to be, how it was, or maybe even how it should be. And Luke going like, oh man, because Luke is going to have his own way, and he's always kind of followed his own way. And so it makes it an interesting conversation to have. Ezra, Ahsoka, Mace Windu, maybe even that Cal Kestis kid, they're all coming at this from completely different places. And if they should survive and they should meet up with Luke and it should be a thing. And different philosophies and how Luke would contend with that and what he would take. And you would have people who have reasons to not join him. If you want a Luke series, how do you get all these people behind you? That is right.
But this is the Book of Boba Fett, so it can't be the Mace Windu, Luke Skywalker. It has to be through the POV of Boba dealing with Mace Windu. That has to be the POV.
To be clear, Book of Boba Fett's not going to have Mace Windu in it.
Okay.
Book of Boba Fett's not going to have a Mace Windu confrontation. I'm hoping for a post-credits. What's next? Here we go, and it's that. And they don't have to get to it for years. They don't have to. And if we have 5 years post Return of the Jedi of Mace being able to be like, all right, guys, I'm not in hiding anymore.
That's kind of what I was saying. Is like, okay, he's just going to show up in the show and be a character in the show, or like I'm not against having him show up in Star Wars again.
Yeah,
it's just that I think shoehorning him into Battle or Book of Boba Fett would be like, eh.
Oh yeah, no. It definitely. I mean, that would be its own story, right? What I'm saying is I think it opens up the avenue for a lot of more stories with Mace Windu and in the Star Wars universe outside of Book of Boba Fett, and then it opens up for something as a sequel, either Mace getting his own show in the end, and then it culminating with the Boba Fett confrontation or dealing with it. Because I don't think that they would kill Boba Fett, but I think that they would kill Mace Windu again.
Yeah, and just to touch on what Meg said a couple of minutes ago, I think she said whether you believe he's dead or not, they have to address him in the series about Boba's life. I agree that he's a big part of Boba's life because he watched him kill his dad. So there's got to be at least some mention or some sort of. I want to see him get past that on screen, maybe at some point, whether it's an offhand comment or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that, most of those characters, like there's just so many opportunities of things that you can do with them. And Mace is one of the ones where you have an actor who's well famous, everybody loves, they can get, who's in the Disney properties already. And I just think it makes a hell of a lot of sense.
He did Snakes on a Plane. You can get him.
Oh, you can get him.
Did The Spirit.
Yeah.
The Spirit. I mean, he's gettable.
Did he do the Coming to America sequel? I can't remember. I kind of blocked it out.
I didn't see it. I'm afraid to see comedy sequels.
Man.
I'm afraid to see comedy sequels.
I was in its corner. I was like, this can be dumb, and I'm going to be on your side Coming to America too. It was dumb. It was like a Hallmark Channel version of Coming to America, and it sucked.
I like Airplane too, but I don't like a lot of comedy sequels.
Yeah,
just saying, it's rare.
I mean, also if you put Mace out there, like if he's out there for Boba to discover at some point, Luke Skywalker could actually search him out. It could be that could also be its own story too. Luke searching out Mace Windu, knowing that he's out there, and trying to find him, and then finding out like where Mace is.
He just keeps finding other Jedi. I found a Grogu, I found a Bulbasaur, and I found a Charizard, but I can't find a Mace Windu.
Find a Windu anywhere.
You know how many Force Squirtles there are in the fucking galaxy? It's ridiculous. Are we done? Did we talk about Star Wars enough?
Mace versus a 20,000 step stairwell to his high-rise apartment. Yeah, and then, but I am with Meg. In a year's time, we'll be watching behind the scenes of Book of Boba Fett and hearing are talking about Robert Rodriguez talking about how they brought Mace Windu back. That's I do feel like if they are doing this right, every one of these series that comes out now will end with throwing the ball, go get it. You're excited for what's next kind of moment at the end. Marvel's genius at it. They did the little bookends, or whatever you want to call it. What are the post-credit scenes? Yeah. And Star Wars should definitely do that same thing. If they're going to take anything from the Marvel universe besides talent, they should take that
consistency and output.
Yeah, I'll take consistency, but I'm cool with low output as long as it's good. That's what's been painful for me. Is Rise of Skywalker was probably the most disappointing Star Wars thing that's ever happened to me in the big picture. Yeah. I did. For the record, I did like it. I do like it. I don't love it deeply. I don't feel like
I refused to see Revenge of the Sith, right? My buddy said, I'll pay, go. Came out surprised that I cared about scenes I didn't think I would. Yeah. Went to see Rise of Skywalker going, well, I don't know what's going on. Maybe this would be cool. And came out like, I can't believe this. So maybe it could be a hype issue, but I do think that time will show that there's very little to pull from Rise of Skywalker that's worth remembering.
It was funny because I read this in Meg's voice. Rise of Skywalker was a kick in the nips. That
needs to go on the box.
It has like all these elements of things that I love, and there's like moments from it. It just collectively, it just doesn't work. It's just something that doesn't work for me. And it's honestly the first time it's the first time that it ever happened. I used to always say when they're in the prequels, people used to be like, "You're a shill" or "You're delusional." And I was like, look, if these movies didn't work for me, I would be the first person to be fucking crying like a little bitch about it. Like I'd just be like, I'd be throwing like the biggest fit about it if that was the case on the prequels. And Rise of Skywalker was the first one. I was like, okay, that was the one where
it's Mark Hamill's worst acting of all time.
I don't know about that.
Worse than the Guyver.
No. Yeah. By the way, did you see the George Harrison video yesterday that came out? He's in it. It's
good.
It's a little too cute for me, all in all, to go like I really like this kind of thing. But for as cringy as it was good. But yeah. Anyways, though, that was the first one where I was just like, man, I'm not feeling a big pull to want to watch this over and over again, and and so we had that right before the pandemic, and then nothing.
I have seen Slipstream. It's worse.
Slipstream. Remember Slipstream?
It's worse.
Have you seen Slipstream?
Free Jack is better than Rise of Skywalker. You want to get into it? Like
Free Jagger, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah. But anyways, so I'm excited to get past this era of Star Wars and to start moving into like new stuff.
The cutscenes to Wing Commander are better than Rise of Skywalker. Don't get started.
No,
they are.
No, Rise of Skywalker. There's nothing shit about Rise of Skywalker other than it as a tapestry. Like if you take anything from it and just like cut out like
tapestries. Where are your tapestries?
Yeah,
I'm looking for your tapestries.
No, it's it's like baking. Every component of it is fine by itself. It's when you put it all together, it just doesn't come together. And
Star Wars. I think JJ, he watched a lot of British TV. He just happened to be watching The Great Bake Off, during the making of Rise of Skywalker, and
yeah, I guess I don't know, but I'm glad that we're finally at Boba Fett. Like it doesn't seem like it because it's still weeks away, like 2 weeks away now. but we are there. Like, we're going to be talking about new Star Wars. Rise of Skywalker won't be the last
Look
thing.
at Hamill's performance in The Last Jedi when he reappears to Leia. All right?
I'm not. I know.
All of that. Then look at Rise of Skywalker and tell me, bro. Come on. Like
judging Rise of Skywalker by Mark Hamill's performance would literally be like the equivalent of
Willow disagrees.
The Jedi isn't good because Moff Gerard.
Willow disagrees.
Yeah, it's just not. It's. I don't like the way they did it, but I don't think that's actually what the problem is. The problem is that he was a resolution, and as opposed to actually earning it. You know what I mean? In the film, they just used that as it was a lot like what Mando season 2 did, and that's why if Grogu comes back and it's just back and they're back with Mando in 2 days at all, season 2 of Mando diminishes.
You said Grogu had a Christmas light size saber. Like the bulby ones from the 70s, like with the warm glow.
I would say his wiener is probably as big as one of those little tiny Christmas tree lights.
Like the ones from the 70s or the thin LED ones with the little tip?
The little ones, and then it gets circumcised.
Johnny, when you get to the end of the podcast, you can say anything. You know how the metrics are on YouTube for this?
I'm trying to be a little more controlled than my last appearance.
No. I'm obsessed.
But anyways, thanks to everybody for hanging out with us today, and thanks to Johnny for hanging out with us. Johnny, I have to say, you are very, very well reserved today. And now I think we see the full spectrum of Johnny. And when you come back tomorrow, whenever you want,
full spectrum Johnny, dude, I like it.
Just do whatever you want, Johnny.
I will be back tomorrow. Don't worry.
All right, come back, hang out with us tomorrow. And Johnny, I want you interrupting me. I want
him here every week for 12 weeks when Andor comes out to give us his nihilistic, apathetic Canadian review of Andor. That's what I want. More than it's my Christmas gift. Like
I'll do a 4-hour video essay.
No, when Andor comes out, I do want, when the Andor trailer finally hits, like the real Andor trailer or something significant of Andor that shows like stuff of it. That's where I want to see if you start to care or not. You know what I mean? I want to see if then, because right now I don't blame you for feeling not one way or the other. What did Mick say?
I'll probably be eating my own words. I probably will be.
I'll
be glad to. Trust me, I want to love Star Wars. I want to love all of Star Wars. So.
And if you don't, I like to hear honest. Like, I really don't care. I enjoy that when it's honest, not like it's clickbaity. I gotta be fucking Mr. I don't like anything, but if you really
says, every Jedi lives in you, Ray, even Kiadi Mundi. Oh shit, that's why it hurts. Pretty good way to end the show. Anyways, thanks to everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Probably on time tomorrow. Maybe not. Who knows? We do whatever we want here. But and if anything else happens, we'll jump back on. And I'll see you guys in a while. Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Rob. And bye.
It's not about spaceships.
Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show.
It's not about spaceships.
Obsessed.
All the people saw was this at the end.